Welcome to Gippsland FM. This is your community connection, the place where you can connect with your community, as I just said. But remember, we've got a community station. We're supported by local sponsors. Support your sponsors who help keep our station alive. And today's weather, if it says here it's a 60% chance of rain, but I'm pretty sure because I've been outside, it's a 100% chance of rain. Top of 17. Tomorrow, very much similar, 70% chance of rain, minimum of 6, top of 17. And today, this is Business, Wealth and Mental Health, your program that explores how thriving businesses, wise financial management and peaceful relationships are good for your mental health. And my guest today is Mr. Alf Vella. Alf, pleased to have you on the show.
Thanks, Damien. Pleased to be here.
It's great to have you. And when we were talking about the pre-show and why you're on here, I'm a 12-year-old at heart. And when I looked at your background and what you're doing, it involves motorbikes and toys, which are things I connect with. Do you want to take us back and tell us how this all come about, what you do, and how you're helping the community?
Well, I've been riding motorbikes for probably 50 years now. And back in the early days, we'd loved riding it down to Melbourne and being part of the big metropolitan toy run. It was big because there were possibly between 6,000 and 10,000 motorcycles involved. And they'd come from all over the metropolitan area and ride together to a location and hand over all of their toys to basically the Salvation Army. And after a couple of years, we thought to ourselves, why be riding down to Melbourne and supporting metropolitan charities when I'm sure there's some kids locally who could benefit from something similar? So in about 2000, we approached the Salvation Army, as I mentioned to Paul, and yes, indeed, there were lots of kids locally who needed a bit of lift up at Christmas time. And so at the time, the Ulysses Club had a toy run, and we participated in that. And we thought, well, it's only fairly modest in size. We'll start something and we'll do it big. And so in the year 2000, we got together. This is my own motorbike club, the Eastern Riders, and we canvassed all of the local businesses, lots of big businesses, power companies and others. And we got some substantial donations. And we started buying lots and lots of toys. And within a couple of years, the Ulysses joined us, and we became the Gippsland Motorcyclists Toy Run. They left all the toy gathering to us at the Eastern Riders, and they became all the road marshals. We used to have a fairly substantial ride, or a toy run ride, which went through the CBDs of Traralgon, from Morwell into Moe, and met in various places, including Old Gippsland. And that involved lots and lots of marshalling, lots of police activity. And after a few years, it got to the point where we couldn't supply the 60 marshals required for every pedestrian crossing, every intersection, every danger spot. And the police got sick of it because they were closing down the freeway for 20 minutes at a time. Imagine closing down the freeway between Morwell and Moe for 20 minutes. Maybe there were 1,000 cars, and nobody liked that happening to them. So it got to a point where the Ulysses guys couldn't provide the marshals anymore, and they said, that's it, we don't want to do that. And that was probably about 8 years ago. And it became the toy run in its current form. We don't go through large towns anymore. We started a little place in Nefertiti Court in Traralgon at Bob Dave's custom bike shop. And we'd ride the back roads towards Glengarry and Tyres, Yilluan North, end up at the township of Erica. And Erica opens up everything to us. They provide all the food and the locations. And we've done that now for the last 4 years. And it's as simple as anything. And it's working beautifully. And we still have the same toy build-up. It's only that day, that toy run day, that we've changed, and still the icing on the cake, but there's no issues involved with getting traffic management plans, worrying about police being necessary, 60 road marshals, none of that.
So tell us about it, because I want to get a picture of this. We'll get into the toy build-up later, but the ride itself, it sounds like there's a big convoy of motorbikes. Am I picturing this right? Can you describe that?
Absolutely, yeah. We back in the good old days, there was just a couple of ads in the Express and some posters stuck on the windows. With social media these days, we get everywhere. Our Facebook page gets 10,000 hits whenever I post something to it. We've got bike clubs all over the place waiting for my information to come out so they can participate. And we get riders coming to Nefertiti Court in Traralgon to marshal there initially from all over the Latrobe Valley and the wider regions, and some coming from places in Melbourne, because the big Melbourne run stopped during COVID and never restarted again. Yeah. Lots of small runs have started up in the meantime. So generally we'll probably get up to 300, maybe 400 motorbikes gathered at Nefertiti Court, and the police block off the road for us, and we get out and we do a nice slow parade through to the back roads. And
how many bikes?
Possibly in its best, about 350.
Wow.
And that's pretty cool.
That's a decent amount of bikes.
Yeah.
And I'm really loving what you're talking about there, because I think we don't appreciate how much that community is out there in our community. As you mentioned, you've got 10,000 people, Facebook followers that are interested in and wanting to support the community. Is that right?
Absolutely. And those followers can be anywhere. Like I get people from all over the world to sort of follow me. I don't know what good they're going to do. They're maybe just interested, I guess. But yeah,
don't people like that kind of good story? Is that? I know if you get stuck on the news and that kind of thing, it's a lot of negativity, and as they say, if it bleeds, it leads. That kind of thing, because that sells. But I often wonder, is that really representative of the community as a whole? I think the majority of the community want to enjoy and share in the pleasures of others and help others. Is that your experience?
I already believe so. I think there is so much happening these days. People get things in their faces like power bills are going up. The cost of essentials are incredible. And we talk to the Salvations and Vinnies every year and ask them, how's it going? And they've said to us for the last few years they hadn't bought a single toy. They've been concentrating on providing the essentials in life. And so they rely upon charities like us. We're not a charity. We're just a group of people getting toys together. But there's more than us. There are other groups who are gathering toys too. But we're proud to say we're the biggest. We're the biggest. And without our help, then those kids would miss out.
And that's one of the things we look about too. I mean, when we're thinking about it, we go, well, you're saying providing the essentials, which is needed.
Yeah.
But it is also too, when you talk about toys, we go, well, when you compare, if it's a choice between toys and food, obviously food takes priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when we're looking at, say, a young child and shaping their destiny, to have someone that doesn't have something like that and to get that toy, but is it more than just the toy, or is it the act of giving that they actually see that giving and go, well, there's more to the community, there's more to humanity than just, life sucks for some people. It becomes, there is more out there. Do you get that sense?
No, I really think so. I think most kids don't really think about where the toy comes from. The fact that mum gave it to them on behalf of Santa Claus is an important thing to them, but the parents themselves are really appreciative. We don't actually approach or get people to approach us. We do all that through the Salvations and Vinnies. They're good at doing that. They have their clients all waiting for assistance, and we're the means that they use to provide that one day of the year where a kid can open up a special toy. And we buy a lot of push bikes too. We get budget push bikes, and a push bike to a child of maybe a young teenager is the gift of transport. It really shapes his life.
Yeah.
And we do that. And we buy good quality toys too, because a lot of kids get one with the toy box stuff given to them as donations, and we don't accept second-hand toys. It's got to be new. It's got to be something that a kid will open and think, wow, that's special. And it makes me special too.
Yeah, isn't it okay when you're talking about bikes as well? I mean, I remember as a kid, the bike was freedom. Is that what you get?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of photographs which I've framed and sitting in my little studio room. Yeah. And there are of pictures of kids receiving these push bikes and looks on their faces. I look at that, I think that's wonderful. That child is going to grow up with the gift of freedom.
Yeah. So tell us about what actually drove you. You when you mentioned about being involved with the Melbourne Toy Run.
Yeah.
What was your desire? Because when we look out in the world, there's a lot of people actually helping out in volunteering, supporting the community radio station here. Everyone here is a volunteer to try and help make the community better. What was your motivation to wanting to help give back?
Yeah. When I was younger, like to buy my first Harley Davidson motorcycle, I needed $15,000, and I was still raising a young family, and I didn't actually think, not relevant. I'll settle for some Japanese lookalikes, which weren't that expensive. So I started making wooden toys at home. I'd pick up a lot of scrap wood around the place and put some machinery, and I'd go to markets. I'd have fundraising events for primary schools and kindergartens, and it was all about toys. And then I started giving toys and dolls' houses to the classrooms in our primary school where I come from, at Yallourn North. Yeah. And the gift of giving to kids sort of got to be to a point where once we started thinking about our own toy run, I thought, a natural extension of what I do. And I guess toys have been a big part of my life. When it started when I was making them, giving them away, and now I use a toy run for that medium. And that's...
So you were making toys and giving them away. But what drove you to do that?
Well,
why did you want to give them away, not sell them?
well, initially I was selling them, and I still did all the way through. But then, my kids would go to a primary school, and I wanted to give something of myself to their classrooms.
Yeah.
So I made a monster big 3-story toy bottle run, toy
Wow.
house for every class in our primary school, and they were so appreciative. I'd be getting cards from all the kids with lots of thank yous, and it made me feel really good. And
That's
then,
what I wanted to get
yeah,
to. What did it make you? Because a lot of
does.
people don't. I don't think people. Some people forget that actually giving is actually a big benefit for yourself. Is that your experience?
Look, the toy run for me, I've been doing that for 25 years. Our 25th year is part of my life.
Yeah.
I've given a third of my life, well, not the whole time, but to being involved with the toy run. It's who I am. It's what I do. It shapes me as the person that I am. And I show so much enthusiasm for it. And then when I kind of got a call from somebody in the Salvation Army, and they said that they heard that no parent in the Latrobe Valley has wanted for toys at Christmas time because of what we did.
How did that make you feel?
Well, no mother has ever had to say to their child, Santa might not be coming this year because of what we do. I'm thinking about it now, and it's giving me the shivers because that's big as far as I'm concerned. It's one day a year, but it's that special day where kids are looking forward to it, they're enjoying it, and the benefits of it last for ages. And and they tell me there's 2,000 children in the Latrobe Valley that get toys because of the Gippsland Motorcyclists Toy Run. I can't imagine 2,000 kids, but there you have it.
And that's the point I really want to explore. And I'm glad you did that. And you said you're getting the shivers from just thinking about that.
Yeah.
And to comprehend, I mean, I have difficulty comprehending the 350 motorbikes you're talking about. You're talking about 2,000 children getting some benefit from an action that you've done.
Mm. Well, not me,
and that's every year.
Personally.
Well, I mean, there's a collective, but obviously, but you're part of that group.
Yep, absolutely. I sit in the middle of this big cog, a big wheel, and hundreds of individuals, many businesses, clubs, and organisations all contribute to it. And I'm the guy who says, "We're doing this again this year. Make me the focal point," and I've become that, and that makes me feel very, very proud. But I'm just that little person in the middle. It's just all the people in the Latrobe Valley getting together and supporting a cause, which I'm happily part of.
Now, let's if you're okay to explore some personal aspects with that, because in life, you're old enough to remember life is not just this. When you're a teenager, everything's fantastic and goes really well, and as you get older, you realise that life has its ups and downs. And in relationships, we have strong times and weaker times. Life has that way.
Mm.
And you've been doing this for some time, 25 years, is that right?
25 years is their anniversary this year.
Yeah. So how, when you look back at your life and some of those difficult times that you might have gone through, how has being part of the toy run helped you? Has it helped you?
Mm. Well, it all started the day that I retired. The year 2000, I voluntarily retired from the old State Electricity Commission.
Yeah. And
that was the year that we started the Gippsland Motorcyclists Toy Run.
Yeah.
And before I retired, some wise person said to me, fill your life with as many interesting things as possible. And I joined the CFA, I joined the SES, I joined a bushwork club, I started art classes, I ride a lot of motorbikes, I'm part of a touring motorbike club. And then we started the toy run. And eventually I started thinking to myself, I can't do everything well. So I discarded a couple of things. And the toy run is an important part of my life. It doesn't fill in my whole time. Yeah. But come about July, when we start canvassing all of our supporters and thinking of new ones to approach, then there's something happening almost every day. Towards the end of it, getting close to Toy Run Day, which this year is the 7th of December, it occupies a big chunk of my time.
Yeah. And so with that, what I want to get to is, because some people, when they're thinking about helping out other people, they go, well, my life's too difficult. I've got too many things on. And I know from my own personal experiences, when I've been in some tough times and been wallowing in my own self-pity, and then I've stepped out and actually helped someone else, it shifted my perspective. So I'm just wondering, from your side of things, you've lived a full life, hopefully lots to go too, but with that, and when you've had, if you don't mind stepping into some of those tougher times you had, was the doing part of the toy run and those giving back, did that help in those moments?
Yeah. There was a wise old man who I used to work for. He said to me, smiling creates these endorphins that rush into your brain. And if at a time when you can't smile, get a pencil and shove it long ways into your mouth. Your brain thinks, I'm smiling. And you artificially create endorphins. I'm not saying that the toy run is that pencil, but
I'm laughing so much because
endorphins.
that example, and we haven't discussed this before, but I use that exact example. If you do take a pencil and put it between your teeth and don't let your lips touch the pencil, you must smile and it makes you feel better.
I thought it was just me, Damon.
No, I'm serious. People will be listening to the show laughing because they know that I've used that example many times. It's hilarious that you mentioned that. And that's why I was wondering from your perspective that it sounds like, during life, sometimes when things are down, just actually stepping out and help people actually helps you. Is that right?
It does. You've got to retreat into things that give you joy.
Yeah.
And I have many of those. I have a lovely family and a wife who loves me and a place where I enjoy living and motorcycling. And the toy run is a massive part of that. It gives me great joy. And it gives me good joy because every year we get commended about the help we've done. And we get a lot of reference back from the salvation and souvenirs about all the people have helped. And we think, wow, that worked really well. And then we can't stop doing it. It's too important.
How much because you mentioned that you've got things that you love doing. You love your motorbikes. You've got a wife who you love very much and she loves you.
Yeah.
And you've got a house that you love being at. And how much do you think people can overcomplicate their life trying to find happiness by being busy, doing all the different things that are expected, quote unquote, of them?
Yeah.
Whereas it sounds like you found the things that gave you joy and did that regardless of what other people might have thought. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, but there's an old expression, an old Chinese proverb, which says you can't do everything well, but you can do one or a couple of things really well. And I like to focus on the things I do really well, and try run, amongst other things, of course.
So, and that's where I want to get to, because a lot of times we feel like we should be doing all different things, but it sounds like you were very confident in what was right for you. Am I reading that correctly?
Occasionally I step into roles that give me a little bit of discomfort, where I don't feel like I'm going to be capable of fulfilling other people's expectations of me.
Yeah.
Like this year, for instance, I'm not blowing into my own bags, but we were nominated for Latrobe City's Australia Day Awards.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what was happening until at the very, very end. I got a letter from Latrobe City saying you've been nominated, or the tour has been nominated for the event of the year. And I wrote back and said, don't worry, I give it to somebody else. There are other more deserving people.
Yeah.
And they called me and said, no, it's going to be you. You're nominated. You've got to come. And I rocked along to the Australia Day Awards. And in their booklet, it had nominations for the Citizen of the Year as well. And there was mine and Stella's name there. And I thought, oh, for God's sake, I don't want to do any of this. And I thought about, I'm out of here. And all my motorcycling mates were there. Most of them nominated the Toy Run and me for these two events.
Yeah.
So, and they were there to support me in that. And we won the Event of the Year award.
Yes.
So Sal and I got up there and accepted a lovely trophy and a plaque. And that was an Academy Award. And then we were nominated, and then we were given the Citizens of the Year award as well. So that was the gold logie. So on the same day, we picked up two gongs at the Latrobe City's Australia Day Awards. And I felt like, why is this happening to me? I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not an astrophysicist. There are people who get these things. I'm just the guy that asks people to get toys together and support families. But obviously people think well enough for me to think of me that way. And that makes me a little bit nervous. So I hope I don't disappoint those people who've held me in high esteem.
That's coming across.
That's not me.
Well, it is. I mean, it is you, because you're doing that. But is it that consistency? It's not something you just did as a flash in the pan. It's something that you enjoyed doing and you regularly do. Is that right?
Like, it might sound really selfish, but I don't want to ever give it up. It's just too important to me, and the joy I get from it is incredible.
And that's the point I want to get to, because and that's where a lot of people, we think about when we're giving to others. It is a selfish act. In a good way, though. And I think nature, or if you believe in divine creation, either way, we're designed that way, that when we actually give and help other people, it makes our life better. Is that your experience?
I really believe so. I believe so too. Yeah.
So how do people get involved with the toy run? Because we wind up the show soon. But
Yeah.
tell us about the toy run itself, how people can get involved, what's happening this year, what are the plans? Let's run through that.
Yeah, like I said, this is our 25th anniversary. It's going to be a special year. We've created a special T-shirt. We've created special patches which we're giving away. And we're blowing into our own bags in respect to 25 years of supporting people. In the last 24 years, we've accumulated 1 million, I've added it all up, I keep good records, $1,059,000 worth of toys.
Wow.
Can you imagine a room with that many toys that it's just impossible to count? And last year we gathered $75,000 worth of toys. Last year was our best year ever.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are looking at the toy run and thinking, I want to be part of that. I want to help. Go to our website, contact me. All the phone numbers, all the email addresses are there. Every year we write to all of our sponsors and a few more, and everybody responds, and we get some big donations from the big companies that are located in the Latrobe Valley. If you have toys at home, no second-hand toys, no used-up stuff. But we do take some second-hand toys which are really special, and people have kept them really well.
Yeah.
We didn't knock anybody back. But we'll take cash, we'll take toy donations. There are people doing things. There are people running raffles and barbecues. Like I said, big companies are doing a lot for us as well. Power stations, we love power stations.
So with that, this is the other thing I want to get to, because there seems to be a lot of doom and gloom, especially if you look at the news. But last year you're saying was the best year ever. And so we're coming out of COVID, which is people are still, but it was still your best year ever. Is that right?
Well, no, actually, COVID was a couple of years prior to that. We rode through COVID. We got a patch which said COVID didn't stop us, because during COVID we can only gather in certain numbers in the Latrobe Valley, and right in the middle of it, being in a region, we couldn't gather more than, I think it was 45 people in one place at one time. And so we started our tour run at Nefertiti Court. The first 45 showed up, and we sent them across to Erica. Yeah. The next 45 showed up, and we sent them across. And so they were coming in groups of 45, and the police were there marshalling the roads for us. And I said, well, mate, there's probably 80 people here. They said, send them through. And then there was 100 people in the next batch. I said, send them through. And at Erica, they spread across the whole town. So there was no gathering of people to any great extent.
Plenty of social distancing.
Even COVID didn't stop us, and we're all wearing a badge proudly stating that.
Well, and that's what I love about what you're telling, the story that you're sharing, is that if you want to, there's a way to make this work. There's a way to give back. Is that right?
Absolutely, there is. There are many charities like us. My wife subscribes to 100 charities. She must be on a million distribution lists. Everybody from the guide dogs to the RFDS and whatever send us requests in, and she sends her $20 off to every one of them. I keep on telling her, Stella, come on. No, we have to help. And I live in a family where people share, and that's good too, because she understands. And she's part of this tour, and she always has been.
And does that component of giving, does that make you feel like there's more than enough for everybody?
There certainly is. As far as toys are concerned, no kid misses out in the Latrobe Valley.
Yeah.
And if they did, and the parents haven't approached the Salvation Army to the poor, they have more than they need.
Yeah. Because
of what we do. And that's fantastic.
So let's go back and tell people about where the toy run happens again. When does it? When is the bikes out? When?
Yes.
And then we'll come back as to where people can contribute as well.
Yeah, for sure. Every first Saturday in December is Toy Run Day for the Latrobe Valley, and
the first Saturday in December.
This year it's the 7th of December, and the bikes gather at Nefertiti Court in Traralgon, which is on the way out of town, heading east. One of the last roads off to the left, at a place called Bob Dave's Custom Cycles. Nefertiti Court is a fairly big court, and we filled that with bikes, and also on either side of the verge as well. And at 11 o'clock on that morning, then whistles are blown, the police block the road, and we all take off and ride in progression towards Glengarry. We go through Tyres, and this year we're going up over the Tyresville Hollow Road and coming in to the north of Erica. And the whole town opens up to us. We have an oval to park on. We have lots of food there. Scouts produce their barbecue. Pubs open. All the other shops as well. And that's where the two big trucks, one from the Salvos and one from Savini's, is there waiting for the toys. Now, prior to that, on that Friday before, all the toys that are kept in our storage area, which we receive from now until then, accumulate. I've got them divided into two.
Yep.
So it's like Moses parting the Red Sea. Down in the middle, there's a gap of a foot. Either side, there's a million toys. And the Salvos send their trucks up on that Friday before. We give half to the Salvos, half to Savini's, and those trucks are 3/4 full already. And so the tour is a success even before it takes off. because last year was our wettest in 25 years.
Yep.
We were discouraging people from coming. Drive your car to Erica. The food's still going to be there. The trucks are going to be there. The band is going to be Pedro Gray's 350s Blue Band. It's been played for us for years. But our best year for toys, our worst year for weather.
Well, that's interesting.
And
wow, funny how that works, isn't it?
That's
Well,
funny.
Alf, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We'll have to have you a follow-up in a couple of months' time and see how it's going, if you're okay to do that.
With pleasure. It's my favourite subject.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm happy to talk about toys as well. So, Alf, thank you very much for taking time here on business, wealth and mental health, and look forward to catching up again soon.
You're welcome. Thank you.